Hi there, welcome back. Now, it is a terrifying thought, but would you know what to do if your child started choking?
With research showing that the majority of parents are unaware of the first aid steps that could save their child's life. Dr Ana Alcock, a consultant in paediatric emergency medicine, is joining us now with her advice. Good morning to you. Good morning. So how common is this? Because I always think in the back of my head it would be my worst nightmare, and what would I do in that situation?
Totally. And I think it's really common.
Yeah.
You know, I did a little bit of trying to find out the stats. It's really common. And most of it happens out there and never comes into hospital because it's a minor event. So you've got the babies choking on their milk. You've got the toddler who accidentally hasn't chewed their food properly, or perhaps has started talking halfway through a mouthful. And so, you know, the coughing, the choking, the spluttering. I think that happens all the time. The actual life-threatening is rare, but that's why it's really important for us to know what to do.
Yes.
Because it doesn't happen enough.
Yes. Are there any foods that are particularly you should kind of really chop up, or you should not give certain children at certain ages?
Yeah. Tricky one.
Yeah.
I think it's always age appropriate.
Yeah.
So you know when you've got that hungry eating toddler that actually it probably is wise to chop their food up just a little bit because they're not going to do it. And obviously it's the food that just gets wolfed down without being chewed that is the worry. I know grapes are a classic. Sausages, mushrooms. I mean,
Popcorn,
you know.
I'd heard of as well. Popcorn, because they breathe it in.
I think anything.
Right.
Because if you're just busy, think when you're eating popcorn, you're normally watching film, so you're distracted. Maybe. You know, it's the not concentrating on what you're doing, which we are all.
And it's not just food, of course, because that's commonly... I've got vivid memories of thinking back to the boys going on to solids and suddenly that moment where they're trying to work out what to do with the solid food and it getting stuck in the back of the throat.
Yeah, totally.
But equally, any child is curious with putting things in their mouth. It's how they feel, it's how they sense stuff, and the amount of bits and pieces you end up fishing out of their mouth.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's anything that they put in their mouth. And bless kids, they stick things up their nose too. Oh, and ears and, you know, anywhere else.
Yeah.
But the nose is just as much of a worry as actually the mouth, because if you've got something stuffed up your nose and you breathe in, well, that has the potential to go into your airway as well. So it's a fun world out there.
What is the difference, Anna, between sort of gagging and choking? And sort of working out which one you need to be sort of very, very conscious of, the other one you just need to maybe pay attention to?
Yeah, it's a little bit like the question, what's the difference between a break and a fracture? I think they're the same thing. I think if you've got something stuck in your airway, whether you're gagging on it or choking on it, it's gone down the wrong way, or it's stuck. And so I think they're really one and the same.
OK. What would be your advice to parents? Because I remember one time, it's always... I try and get them to always sit down and eat meals properly, but quite often that's quite difficult. And especially if the two of them are having a really nice time and the one makes one laugh and it's eating a bit of carrot, and it's a bit of a disaster. So what would be your advice? What should you do and shouldn't?
I don't think there's a right way.
Right,
I think it's all... Parenting is about surviving
Yeah.
the best that you can. And I don't think there's a textbook out there that says this is what you should do. You know, ideally, you should concentrate when you're eating. You shouldn't stick bits of Lego up your nose. But the world, you know, the world is what it is. And you
try not to do that, exactly. That Lego up your nose.
We're looking at some Lego later with Steve.
Steve Wilson, don't give him any.
And what about, then, signs that your children are choking? Because, of course, there's some very common signs, but what should we be looking out for, Anna?
I think it's different for age. And a baby is often drinking milk. And so, you know when they're swallowing nicely and it's all very easy. They're born with a very immature, uncoordinated swallow. So as soon as things aren't going down smoothly, they are going to cough and sputter. And they need to develop those muscles and that coordination. So it's part of development too. So you've got that, and then you've got the child who's running around and then suddenly, because they've got a lollipop or a sweet or whatever, inhales it rather than swallowing it. And then you're going to see a difference. You're going to see someone who's probably grabbing their throat or with that terrified look of, I can't breathe. So it's different ages and different signs that you're going to see, really.
Okay. Now, you've brought some friends with you.
Mates.
Yeah. And we're going to do some demos, aren't we, of what we could do. So we've got some babies and we've got some sort of bigger kids.
Yeah. Totally. And I think it's one of those things that, as the parent, you're likely to panic.
Yes.
But if you're the passerby, you can probably help. obviously, if you're a calm parent, you can help too, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things we just need to learn again and again because we don't use it enough.
OK.
So with a baby, first of all, stop them from drinking whatever it is, or if they're vomiting, let them vomit, because it might be curdled milk, you don't know. Leave them be. Don't do what every bone in your body is asking you to do, which is to pat them on the back. We all want to do that, but then the head does this, the liquid does that, disastrous. So just stop whatever's happening and let them just sit there and deal with it themselves, because most of the time they will.
OK.
If they start going quiet, you realise they're not coughing and spluttering as much. They go pale, potentially blue. That's, yeah, it's horrible,
It is
isn't
terrifying,
It's
yeah.
horrible. That's when you need to intervene. Ideally, non-dominant hand on the jaw. So not the mouth, not the neck, but on the jaw.
Yep.
And pop them, if you can, on your forearm. Your leg is fine, but forearm means that you can really get the head down.
Gravity's helping.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and it's normally a liquid, and gravity can then help spew out whatever it is. So this may be it.
That might be enough.
Yeah, you get them crying, happy days, you've won. If not, heel of the hand in the middle of the back, and you're trying to pass your energy into the baby through a bit of force, a bit of power. 2 lungs, full of air. You want to eject that air out the mouth, so it will hopefully eject whatever it is in there. And also it makes that upper airway vibrate a little bit, so maybe dislodge it.
Shift stuff.
Yeah.
So it's strong, but not hugely strong. So it's a happy medium. So it's a... Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a little bit of energy and a little bit of force, because if you do it really well the first time...
That could be enough.
Hopefully it's done. So you can do those up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you've still got a blue, non-perfectly crying baby, turn them over. Their head in your hand, again, down. And what you want to do is you want to be in the middle on that breastbone, but below the nipple line, so about here.
Yeah.
So on the bone, and you're jabbing. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a chest thrust.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. And you can keep flipping the baby over, provided it's
other.
not unconscious, until you've done what you need to do and get that.
To expel what's stuck.
OK.
Great.
What about bigger kids that are going to be more fidgety,
Yes.
probably a little bit more difficult to handle?
Totally. And they're not quite as predictable, so they might fall to the ground.
Yeah.
They're probably going to stand there and not want you very close, because when you can't breathe, you don't want someone smothering you. And again, we all just want to get close to them and,
Yeah.
So ideally, if they're still standing, great. Put your arm near them, not on them, because they'll hate that. And then you're hitting the back, right at below the shoulder blades, in the middle, and you're doing the same thing. You're trying to expel that air and get a bit of a wobble up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But they should be tilted at an angle
Ideally,
like that, Anna.
and you could have them over your knee. So if you can see that they're really struggling, that's
you can calm
absolutely
enough,
fine too.
Yeah, that's going to be the hard thing.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. It's that force, giving it you're not going to break them.
No.
And if they can't breathe...
No, you need to get...
the worst case scenario.
And then what do we do with these guys? Should they then just kind of come back?
Hopefully they're fine. If not, you're doing the same as what we were doing with the little babies with the chest.
Yeah.
You're doing it on the abdomen. So I'm just going to strip this one down.
Do it.
As you do. But you want to put your fist between their belly button and the bottom of that chest.
The hand that you use, right?
Absolutely. And then you're popping your other hand over the top, so you're behind them.
Yeah.
And you're squeezing up and in, again, to try and expel that air.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what you're aiming to do.
Yeah.
And again, you can keep doing the back blows, keep doing the abdominal thrusts as many times as you need until it's come out.
Amazing.
What I really need is you to be there. If it
Wouldn't that
happens
be
to
lovely?
me, that would be the nicest thing of
Anna,
all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Some simple instructions, but hopefully, as you say, will help.
Oh,
somewhere
hello.
along the way.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.